For decades, Jeff Chandler has been remembered as the silver-haired, deep-voiced actor who captivated audiences in Broken Arrow and starred in countless westerns and war films throughout the 1950s. To the public, his death at the age of 42 in 1961 was a tragic but seemingly simple accident, routine back surgery gone wrong. But that story is incomplete. Behind the polished public narrative lies a far darker reality. A tale of medical negligence, studio exploitation, personal pressures, and institutional cover-ups that changed the course of Hollywood history and left a life cut tragically short. This is the story the studios tried to bury, the truth that Hollywood wanted the public to forget. Jeff Chandler's final days were not a simple tragedy. They were a preventable catastrophe hidden under decades of silence. By early 1961, Jeff Chandler was at a turning point in his life and career. At 42, Chandler's imposing 6 feet 4 inches frame, deep resonant voice, and commanding presence had made him one of Hollywood's most reliable leading men. He was the quintessential screen hero in westerns and war films, portraying authority figures and military leaders with ease. While he never reached the superstar level of Gregory Peck or Burt Lancaster, Chandler was the dependable star Universal Pictures could rely on to deliver box office results year after year. Yet, beneath the glamorous veneer, his body was struggling. Years of physically demanding roles, stunts, and relentless production schedules had taken their toll. Chronic back pain plagued him, caused by a herniated disc, a cumulative injury from years of action sequences, horseback riding, and grueling shooting schedules. By spring 1961, surgery became unavoidable. When Chandler entered Culver City Hospital for the operation in May, both the studio and his management described it as a routine procedure. The public was told it would be a minor inconvenience, a short pause in his busy career. But the reality inside the hospital was far more grim. On May 13, 1961, the surgery began. Within hours, Chandler experienced massive internal bleeding, so severe that it sent him into shock. The hemorrhage was uncontrollable, forcing emergency interventions that stretched on for days. One nurse who witnessed the events later remarked, "They said it was routine, but it left him bleeding to death in silence." Despite multiple follow-up surgeries, Chandler's condition deteriorated. Blood clots, infections, and continued internal bleeding compounded the crisis. The autopsy revealed a shocking truth. During the initial operation, the surgeon had accidentally nicked a major artery. The very procedure presented as routine was, in fact, fatally flawed from the start. For nearly 36 days, Chandler fought for his life, enduring repeated surgeries and blood transfusions. Studio publicity continued to issue optimistic statements, assuring fans of a speedy recovery, a deliberate effort to mask the crisis from the public. On June 17, 1961, Chandler died, a physically robust man undone not by chance, but by preventable errors and systemic failures. Following Chandler's death, his ex-wife Marjorie, mother of his 2 daughters, filed a malpractice lawsuit against Dr. Julian Hoffman and Culver City Hospital. The lawsuit alleged gross negligence, claiming that the surgeon's failure to exercise proper care near major arteries directly caused Chandler's fatal hemorrhage. Yet, the lawsuit received remarkably little media attention. Major entertainment publications either ignored the story or buried it in back pages. Why? Hollywood had a vested interest in controlling the narrative. Universal Pictures, protecting both the financial value of its films and Chandler's public image, leveraged its influence over studios, stars, and media outlets to ensure that damaging details stayed quiet. Ultimately, the lawsuit was settled out of court in late 1962, with terms sealed. While the financial compensation was rumored to be substantial, the exact details were never publicly disclosed. This settlement prevented the most incriminating evidence of negligence from entering the public record. Through these measures, Hollywood effectively rewrote history. A preventable death became a muted footnote in the annals of celebrity tragedy. Even after the surgical error, Chandler might have survived had the hospital been adequately prepared. Accounts from nurses at Culver City Hospital suggest that blood transfusions were delayed, compatibility protocols may have been neglected, and specialist surgeons were not immediately available. In hemorrhage cases, time is critical. Immediate access to blood products and vascular specialists could have made the difference between life and death. Yet Chandler's emergency care was hampered by systemic failures, allowing what might have been a manageable complication to spiral into a fatal crisis. He walked in for a back problem, a nurse later said. He never walked out. The hospital's missteps reveal institutional weaknesses. Pressures to maintain secrecy, protect celebrity patients, and preserve the studio's image may have compromised the quality of care, contributing to Chandler's death. The sealed lawsuit settlement ensured these failures were never scrutinized publicly, and systemic problems remained unaddressed. Compounding the medical crisis were rumors about Chandler's private life. Persistent whispers circulated that he enjoyed cross-dressing, a claim confirmed decades later by Esther Williams in her autobiography. According to Williams, she once discovered Chandler wearing women's clothing, an incident that ended their brief romance. In the 1950s, Hollywood's rigid standards of masculinity meant that even whispers of such behavior could ruin a male star. Chandler's roles began to decline in the late 1950s, coinciding with these rumors. Industry insiders suggest that studio executives and casting directors may have subtly limited his career opportunities, reflecting concerns about how the public might react. The psychological toll was significant. Friends reported that Chandler became increasingly anxious about his career, financial security, and public image. Stress is a known factor in physical health and recovery. It's possible that the mental strain weakened his resilience during his prolonged hospitalization. In essence, Chandler was navigating not just medical challenges, but the pressures of a Hollywood culture that demanded absolute conformity, leaving no space for personal authenticity. Chandler's relationship with Universal Pictures exemplified the exploitation inherent in the studio system. From the early 1950s through 1961, he filmed up to 5 movies a year, with little regard for the physical toll of stunts, long hours, and grueling production schedules. Pain medication and sheer endurance were daily necessities. If this kind of story touches your heart, if you're someone who cares about truth, responsibility, and speaking up for the voiceless, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who should hear it. By the time surgery became necessary, Universal's concern was primarily about production schedules. Within days of Chandler entering the hospital, the studio began recasting his upcoming projects, signaling that their priority was not his well-being but the continuity of profitable productions. After his death, Universal issued polite statements expressing sadness, but the substantive efforts to honor his legacy were minimal. Unlike other major stars, Chandler did not receive public tributes, retrospectives, or reissues of his films. The studio effectively erased his presence, allowing a once prominent star to fade from public memory. This transactional approach, use stars to profit, discard them when no longer viable, was emblematic of Hollywood at the time. Chandler's death was the culmination of years of overwork, medical mismanagement, personal pressures, and institutional indifference. When all 5 aspects of Chandler's story are considered together, a chilling picture emerges. A preventable surgical error initiated the crisis. Hospital failures and delays transformed a manageable complication into a fatal outcome. Personal pressures and rumors may have weakened his mental and physical resilience. Exploitative studio practices compounded the physical and emotional strain. Coordinated cover-ups and a sealed lawsuit hid the truth from public scrutiny. The sanitized narrative of routine surgery gone wrong fails to capture the depth of negligence and exploitation. Chandler's story is more than the death of a Hollywood star. It is a cautionary tale of systemic failure, secrecy, and the human cost of an industry obsessed with image over accountability. By uncovering the truth of Jeff Chandler's final chapter, we honor his memory, shine a light on institutional failings, and challenge the sanitized narratives that have shaped our understanding of Hollywood's golden age. His death was preventable, his story manipulated, and his legacy undervalued. But today, the truth finally emerges. If this kind of story touches your heart, if you're someone who cares about truth, responsibility, and speaking up for the voiceless, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who should hear it. Let's get started.